Welcome to this week's episode of In the Know. I'm Byron Brown. United Van Lines did a study on states with the most and fewest people leaving a state in 2025. Mississippi ranks at number 6 for the most people leaving the state in 2025. Here joining us now is United Van Lines Vice President of Communications, Eileen Cummins. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Byron.
Now, here, talk about the research that you all did. What are some of the main contributing factors for why a state made that list?
Absolutely. So we really look at states this year. Really, it was affordability and being closer to family were real key drivers for our study this year for why people either left a state or moved into a state.
What are some things that Mississippi needs to do to get people to move to the state?
I think for a state like Mississippi, really looking at some of their neighboring states, a state like Alabama is a really good example. They leverage Huntsville really well with their tech and aerospace, as well as the amenities that the Gulf Coast has to offer, which I think could be something that Mississippi could do as well.
Yeah, when you look at Mississippi as one of the smallest populated states in the Southeast region by a wide margin, you talk about the neighboring states. What is it that, they're increasing data centers here. Is that going to help Mississippi maybe grow?
Yeah, I'm definitely not an expert in the data center area for Mississippi, but I have looked into that, and I think it could really help with both brain drain, so keeping those college graduates, as well as be an attraction for out-of-state workers, how they're really leveraging those AI centers.
Have you seen any shift from the red states or blue states when it comes to population changes?
So pre-COVID and post-COVID, we have definitely seen a difference, but both pre-COVID and post-COVID, we see red and blue states on our inbound and our outbound lists. It really comes down to opportunity and affordability.
What about salaries and job opportunities? When you talk about opportunities, are we talking about salaries, or what are we talking about when we talk about opportunities?
Well, I think are there high-paying jobs in the area, right? And are there larger corporations who are hiring those graduate workers? I think definitely will help keep those graduates and really help with some of that brain drain, but then also just attracting workers in general. Another thing is just affordable housing, which Mississippi does have it going, it's affordable state, Mississippi, to live in. And so I think leveraging some of those things and that affordability will also help gain more residents.
Do you feel like universities have a bigger responsibility to play in people moving out of Mississippi because of that brain drain we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm definitely not an expert in that space either, but I would say that there are business opportunities. It's more about the business opportunities in the communities that would be the key drivers. Graduates are going to go where the jobs are. Graduates are going to go where the opportunities lie. And I think that it's those college graduates that are really essential to economic growth, innovation, and also workforce development.
And so how long does it take a state, you may not be able to answer this one, but to reverse that trend of the young people leaving the state and getting either to stay home or getting people to come into your state?
Well, I think because of some of the work that Mississippi's done on the AI front, I think that there's an opportunity for Mississippi to really leverage that and turn the tide maybe faster than some other states. Like a state like New Jersey, New York, they've seen a lot of outbound migration in recent years, going on decades, but a lot of that is because of their aging population. So they see a lot of retirement traffic. They're still seeing some of the younger generations moving in, and they can be known as like launch states, like you're launching your career. So I think it's really trying to figure out how does Mississippi reframe itself and be part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. As you look at your study overall, describe to us the states that are doing really well and compared to how Mississippi is where people are leaving. What are the states that people are moving to opposed to the people are moving out of?
Well, states this year that are on the list, you have states like Oregon who have been on the list before, but then in recent years, because of birth rates and slower migration into the state, it was off of our list for a while, but this year it's back on. States like Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina do really well. The Carolinas see a lot of retirement traffic from the Northeast. You also see some states that you might not think of like Delaware also does really well with retirees from the Northeast and other places. People are really looking for affordability, and we've seen a migration from larger metropolitan areas to maybe those more mid-sized cities that offer some of the same amenities that you're going to see in the larger populations, but at a more affordable rate.
And when you're trying to attract more people, are you looking for retirees, or are you looking for young people, or are you looking for a mixture of both?
I think to have a really stable economy, you need a mixture of both.
And when you talk about retirees, how big does healthcare play in that? Having a good healthcare system for those retirees who are maybe looking to come down to a state to retire in.
I would assume that that would be a very important part. I know also the tax rates for, whether there's income tax, some of those other things also, and obviously the weather, all are key drivers for retirees.
And what else can we learn about your study that you guys have done on people on migration across the country?
Well, United Van Lines has been doing this study for nearly 50 years. This is our 49th year, and it's been very interesting to see the population trends and the migration trends year over year. We're tracking interstate moves, right? So we're tracking people moving from one state to another, and we really look at it as a percentage-based inbound, outbound. And over the years, it's been very fascinating to see the areas and the migration over time. States like California that used to be big, booming inbound states, now more on the outbound balance list, to states like Texas and Florida who've seen large inbound in past years. So it's just been very fascinating year over year to track the migration patterns of the U.S. residents.
And the biggest areas that are getting the biggest population growth, are those mainly in the South, or are they towards the West? What are we seeing the most population growth going?
We definitely are seeing more in the Southeast. States like the Carolinas, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida are always either on the list or near the top of the list.
What's your projections when it comes to 2026, and where does Mississippi fit in those projections?
Yeah, it's a great question. We won't know until we start seeing the data and we start seeing individuals move. But I would say, as you're leveraging different economic factors for your state, all of that can be key drivers and maybe flip the script in 2026.
All right, sounds good. Eileen Cummings, thank you for joining us and talking to us about how people are moving across the country. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
All right, we appreciate you being here. Thank you. And thank you for joining us for this edition of In the Know. You can join us every Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on WJTV Plus. I'm Byron Brown. Make it a good night.